In this module, we will talk about one by one about different media component, as we have seen in our previous module, in which we talk about different important ingredient or a component of the medium, in which we talk about water, carbon source, energy source, nitrogen source, antifoam, precursors, etc. So many components which we have seen in our previous module. So here we will talk about one by one about each and every component in detail. As concerned, our first important component part of the medium, that is water. The water is very important in fermentation. And we know that there is a 70%, almost all the organisms has a 70% in their cellular composition. So we say that water is a life. So without water, we cannot imagine about the life. So in fermentation process, water not only used by the organism, that is also the need in controlling the process. That is used in a heating process, that is used in cooling process, that is used in cleaning of the fermenter, then also used in rinsing of different accessories and then different equipment used in the fermentation process. So when assessing the suitability of the water supply, it is important to consider different aspects. Number one is the availability. So when we talk about that industrial fermentation, that mostly the industrial fermentation having the involvement of n quantity of the water. So we should keep in mind the availability of the water and the consistent and equal quality of the water. What is the quality of the water? And we know that the water is a universal solvent. So what type of the water we are using? Either we are using groundwater, either we are using distilled water, either we have the choice to use the water from the streams, either we have the choice of the marine water. So before using the water, we should know the exact quality of that water. So because we have to use that. While talking about the quality of the water, use not directly for the part of the fermentation media, but on other hand for the heating purpose, cooling purpose, cleaning purpose and the rinsing purpose, that ultimately affect on the process and then the life of all the equipment. So we will very careful about the water quality. So when we talk about the water quality, then that those elements that is present in the fermentation in a water that we want to use. So we should know that what is the water quality. So what is the pH, what is the dissolved salt, what is the effluent contamination in that water. Sometimes there is we can see that on other hand that is polluted water. So we should know about such kind of the factors that can affect on a water quality while selecting and while having the choice of the water availability in fermentation process. So as concerned, the second, that is the energy source, because when we move one step ahead after talking about the water requirement, then the most important is the energy source. In our previous module, we talked about that carbon having the dual function. On one side, the carbon is a building block of the cellular body. On the other hand, carbon compounds also give the energy source to the organism. So by the oxidation or a respiration of the carbon or any other compound, that by which the organism produce their energy for cellular work, then that comes about mostly from the carbohydrates, from the lipids, from the proteins, according to the different metabolic pathways. So the energy source, either we are utilizing the carbohydrate as a nitrogen source, either we are using lipid as a energy source, or a nitrogen compounds which we called as the proteins. So all these compounds which we called as the energy sources, actually these are the carbon compounds. So that ultimately affect on the oxygen demand. So some microorganisms can also use other hydrocarbons such as methanol for a carbon as well as the energy source. So those organisms that utilize such hydrocarbons as a carbon and energy source, they are very much utilized just in say when we say that there is enough supply of oxygen. So we can keep in mind along with the water requirement, what will be the choice of energy source, and then how that can affect on our media formulation.